David Hess, who's with me. You said you're going to get a couple of hundred orders out of this show, looking to be a pretty good show for you.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. We've already got a backlog of more than 1,200 engines for the 4 new applications that we're developing now. And we expect that number to grow by at least a couple of hundred engines during the show. So we're pretty excited.
Now, one of the big talks of this show has been the A320neo, Airbus's new single-aisle narrow-body plane. It's got, some of them have your engines on it. You've said you'd like about 50% of those to have your engines. Do you think you'll meet that target?
We're pretty confident. We think we've got a much better engine, and we're much further ahead in development. We've already got the first 3 engines in test. In fact, the first one may take to the air for the first time today, and the other guy right now has a paper engine. So we've got a much better engine. It's a very innovative engine with a geared architecture that gives us tremendous advantages in terms of fuel burn, maintenance costs, and acoustics. And we're probably years ahead in development as compared to the competitor. Now,
your engine on this plane, it's about 15% more fuel efficient than the old A320.
Correct.
Is this as far as engine technology is going, or are you guys pushing things further now?
No, matter of fact, we have a technology roadmap that continues to take that 15%, and by 2025, we think that number looks more like 25% better. So we know how we can keep improving the engine going forward and keep extending the benefits of this new geared turbofan architecture.
Now, you've had some pretty optimistic expectations for your growth. You've said you expect your sales to double by the end of the decade.
We do.
Where's that growth coming from?
Well, again, we're developing 4 new applications now for the MRJ, the CSeries, the A320neo that you mentioned, and the MC21. So a lot of the growth will come from those new platforms. We're getting growth out of our small engine business, Pratt Whitney, and our military engine looks like it's going to be quite strong as well with the Joint Strike Fighter that we're on. That will get a lot of growth out in the back half of this decade as well. So all the segments of Pratt Whitney look very healthy and look like they got strong growth in front of them.
Now, you mentioned the CSeries. That, of course, is Bombardier's, the
Correct.
Canadian plane makers, challenger to the A320 and Boeing 737. You're the only engine maker for that plane, but it hasn't been selling so well so far. Are you disappointed with the number of orders that plane has gotten so far?
No, I think it's still early. The plane won't enter service until late 2013, and some of the early slots are already sold out. So I think some of it has to do with the fact that anybody who orders C-Series will have to wait a little bit now. But clearly, as you get closer to entry into service, I think you'll see the orders pick up. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see some more good news about orders at the show for the C-Series.
I mean, particularly in that single aisle market, we've had pretty much a duopoly between Airbus and Boeing. We've got a lot of new competitors going into that market, Bombardier, Comair from China. Do you see that duopoly breaking down? How many players will we have in that market in a few years?
Clearly, the space is becoming more crowded. I think Comac will be a legitimate entry into the field. They're starting with the C919, but it's clear that that's going to be their first among money airplanes, and they're already talking to us about possibly applying our engine for some of their new aircraft or other derivatives of the C919. So there are others joining the field.
So that, okay, great. Well, I think we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And that was President of Pratt & Whitney, David Hess, joining us here at the Paris Air Show, where the orders are starting to trickle in.